Hey there, cats and kitties. I'm the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 8 of the Doctor Who spin-off series Class, entitled The Lost. For all intents and purposes, the season 1 finale of Class, potentially the last episode ever, I don't know, because the ratings apparently are not doing very well in the digital medium. But I can only hope that we will actually get to see a following series or season, as we call it over here in the States, because this show was just insane. It was all kinds of great. As far as the characterization goes, I would bang on and on and on about the characterization and just really, falling in love with these characters and really being heartened by them and all of, them coming together across this crazy journey. And this finale episode, for all intents and purposes, was just no holds barred. I very much had called the fact that we would see Ram's father bite the dust, no pun intended, be reformed to ash, and that was very much the case. I did not, however, expect that we would also see the same being done to, Tanya's mother. Almost her brothers as well. I mean, that completely blew my mind. We almost saw April's own mother as well, although the Shadowkin King held off, potentially because she had some of that Shadowkin, shadow stuff in her legs and everything, which I think was dispatched by the end of the episode. And that, man, just there was so much at stake going on. We kind of comically open with Quill, after being in a sort of hibernization, mode. So her baby can apparently move wombs or whatever it is. She finally snaps to, and she's completely, mind boggled over this. And, Charlie's been taking care of her. Matthias and Charlie have kind of sort of reconciled. Not quite, maybe kind of sort of, I guess, and I was happy about that. I was happy to see them coming together again, but of course they're tested to the limits, as is everyone in this episode. I mean, it begins with April putting on a performance where she sings this very almost Celtic, Lord of the Ringsy kind of song called, much as the title of the episode suggests, The Lost. And I was actually really wowed by that. I'd be surprised if that wasn't actually her singing, the actress singing, Sophie Hopkins. I think she sang beautifully, and I was really heartened by that particular performance. But of course, amidst this is where we get the sort of interspersed sequences where Ram is getting frustrated about practicing soccer. His father's trying to get him back on that, diligence that he had earlier, before he lost his leg to the Shadowkin King. And Ram can't have it anymore. He's just tired of it. He's, getting kind of sort of strung along by April, not knowing if she'll ever love him the way he loves her. And so you can understand why he'd walk away. But right then and there is where his father gets stabbed from behind. And that just, oh man, that just really killed me. I didn't expect it to be so quickly out of the gate that we would see that. And then it would only escalate things. The matters would only escalate as the episode continued on. Again, as I say, with Tanya's mother completely caught off guard by that. And the Shadowkin, they've been able to sort of get in and out of these micro fractures in the space-time continuum. That bunghole in space is apparently caused some hemorrhoids in space, so they can get in and out swiftly enough and make their strike and move on. And it's all about the Shadowkin King wanting April to come with him so he can keep her encapsulated and make sure to assure the safety of that shared heart. And it's kind of insane, in a sense. As an extension of what we've seen happen already, April is still kind of sort of in command, or at least she shares command. And this becomes the clinchpin in the end of the episode when everyone has run ragged. They've all managed to get together back at Coal Hill Academy in the gymnasium, auditorium, whatever you want to call it. Quill and Tanya, she's been teaching Tanya to fight because she wanted to try to save her family as best she could. And, they have effectively brought the Cabinet of Souls because she understands this is the way we need to defeat this particular enemy. Maybe, not every single human being would find this so easy, pushed to the edge like that, but that's the whole point. They've been pushed so far. They've lost so much. The idea of genocide for the preservation of an entire species, you could arguably say it kind of makes sense, and that's where they're brought to boil. And in doing so, when Charlie and Matthias are there, Matthias has already been threatened by the Shadowkin King. He will be number 5, and Tanya's brothers were supposed to be 3 and 4, but they got away, thankfully. And the whole idea of the love between Charlie and Matthias really coming to utmost conflict over this, because in the end, April basically confides in Charlie. There's only one way that we can silence this. There's only one way we can ever hope to rebound from this, and that's if you dispatch the king. And that's where we see that linkage between she and the actual Shadowkin King. And so he fires Quill's gun on her, seemingly killing her. Ram absolutely loses, his mind, understandably so, because he just got the message from her where she's like, I've just been afraid, and I really do love you, and yada yada. And it's like, okay, well, now the bitch is dead. Thank you very much. And but that's not even the end of it. That's only the beginning, because Charlie summons forth the souls contained within that cabinet, and he mass genocides the entirety of the Shadowkin, all the way through the rips, the tears in space-time to their homeworld, and he dispatches them all. And it's like he is utmost sympathetic for that. I don't see him as a villain. I see him as being brought to the final recourse, and what else could be done? It's not quite the kind of scenario, as the Doctor would say, where you have to talk. You can't talk. You can't reason with the Shadowkin. What are you supposed to do? It's brought to boil. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. What can you do? You either assure the certainty of an entire species that is innocent being wiped out, or you take out the killers, the murderers. And so, it blew my mind, just the whole tone of the episode, the whole pacing of it, the whole no-holds-barredness of it. Literally, nobody was safe. Ram's father died, Tanya's mother died, April seemingly died, and it looked like Charlie was willing to make the final sacrifice, even though Matthias was pleading with him not to. He all but fully expected that the final soul would take him. And Quill, I don't know whether it was because of her maternal instincts. I don't know whether it's because she's been so trained to try to continue saving his life. I don't know exactly what her reasoning was, even though she does give us some dialogue that suggests this is the way it's supposed to be, and she's aware of that the prince must live on and, deal with the guilt, deal with what he has now done. And maybe that's her own sick, twisted punishment for Charlie, but, she saves him. She knocks him out of the way, and it seems as though this blast, this final soul, has gone and effectively tried to kill Ram. But then, by the end of the episode, do we see that, no, in fact, he's fine. April is still kind of sort of dead, until the Shadowkin King sits up, and it's her. Somehow, she's been fully transmogrified into the body of the Shadowkin King, I guess. And everyone's left to be dumbfounded. And all the meanwhile, the headmistress of Coal Hill Academy, who Charlie and Matthias had gone to for help, she went and sought, information from the governors, who we finally get to see by the end of this episode, for her, thinking him incapable of summoning all of those souls and wiping out the entirety of the Shadowkin. she is punished by a weeping angel, which, rather than throw her back in time, just seems to kill her right then and there. It just seems to break her neck or something. And there's all this talk of the arrival, the pending arrival, whatever the hell that is. Does it involve the weeping angels? Are they trying to make a mass run on Earth? I don't know. I was half expecting Captain Jack Harkness or frickin' the Doctor to show up in the end, because this was nuts. I mean, not since like seasons 1 and 2 of Torchwood have we seen something so brought to the brink of destruction, where it looked like there was no way to win and nobody was going to really come out the victor here. And it was just insane. It was intense. And it was completely, in more ways than one, unexpected. And I think the worst part about it is we kind of leave off with these threads of a potential continuing story, but will we get that? I don't know. Because the ratings are so poor on the iPlayer, from what I understand from articles I've read. It seems like, as one of my esteemed colleagues on YouTube has talked about in one of his videos, people aren't even freaking aware this show is out there. At least the people who are in the minority. And over stateside, we can't even expect this show to actually legit air until Series 10 of Doctor Who airs. It's going to coincide with that. WTF. Big time WTF. Why were they trying to bury this show from the beginning? I mean, it came out of the rafters, fists swinging, and it went all the way through to the end. It was a roller coaster frickin' ride. Some of it was nonsensical, some of it was borderline questionable, but for the most part, you had crisp, great writing, great characterization, endearing, memorable, sympathetic characters, and episodes that were intense after intense after intense. This show needs to be watched. And here we have the finale, the Series 1 finale, Season 1 finale, potentially. I hope it's not the series finale, where we never get a follow-up. If that ends up being the case, I can only hope, and I echo the sentiments I've seen other people posting comments about, I echo the sentiments that I hope, some of these characters bleed over into Doctor Who proper. Quill for a companion, anyone? I am down for that. All kinds of down for that. Catherine Kelly, mamma mia. Same thing with April's. Sophie Hopkins, like, my heart is a flutter for her. And, she's got my heart just as much as the Shadowkin King. But in any case, like, bring them over to Doctor Who proper, for crying out loud. Let's actually get Ram, April, Tanya. Let's get them all in there. I don't know. Maybe that'll be too much. But, and anyway, we're looking forward to Bill in Series 10, so that'll be interesting. But, a hell of a way to go out. No holds barred. Completely, surprisingly, and unexpectedly just vicious and raw. And definitely not your papa's Doctor Who. And I loved it. I'm astounded by it. I'm probably going to have to let it sink in for a little while. And I hope this isn't the last of class that we will see. So, yeah. Otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well. And I'll catch you all later. Peace.